Well, hello everybody, hello YouTube. If I'm working on the computer and talking here, if you tuned in to catch another video, this one here is going to be, mute the TV. I'm learning that's a lot of background noise. This one's going to be in regards to a certain channel, Sparkinton is the channel name, and this is to do with the disease I have, the Arnold Chiari, and some questions that this YouTuber had, because she's getting ready to go in for surgery. So she was looking to ask me some questions, so I'm going to answer them for her. If you don't feel like sitting and watching, you can jump out now, but if you do, I appreciate it. The more people that are familiar with my disease, the better. Most of you that watch my channel are very familiar with it. So let's get started. And this is, like I said, to Sparkinton. So I'm going to read stuff and answer at the same time. The reason I am not typing, I sent a quick message to you earlier that said this video would be up several hours ago, and I ran into some uploading trouble, and then I had to go run some errands. Because of the Syrinx I have, and it's such a big Syrinx, it runs from C1 to T12, I have no sensation or feeling at all left in the left side of my body, and most of my right body. I do in these two fingers, but not down this side of the arm. That's why I'm putting the tattoo on this arm and stuff right now, all the way up, because I have absolutely no sensation. Now if you grab, I can feel it, but it's very uncomfortable, almost uncomfortable to being painful. The cold weather, very, very painful. That's what the reason I don't type is because of that, and every day I lose just a little bit more dexterity, and it's hard to type. I cannot type like this. I never really have been able to. There for a while I could slowly do it, but I can't at all. So now it's all this. So I'll put out long messages sometimes, but if I put you out a message that's any more than a paragraph long, I've got well over a half hour into it. So, and then my grammar, and that's not that good either. So, your question about me or about you going to see Dr. Oro, and he recommended that you have the surgery, that you do not have a Syrinx, and that you are petrified. Don't be petrified. Remember that. I'll get into that. And how the petrified about the surgery. My video helped you a little bit, and knowing everybody's tolerance is different. How painful was this experience? You have a high tolerance for pain, but surgery scares you more than symptoms and most. Well, sure, surgery should scare you. Surgery is a scary thing. There's you know, a lot of stuff associated with surgery that should scare you, but the surgery itself, because of where they're operating and that, don't let that scare you. Just surgery in general scares you. Surgery in general scares me. This is the second decompression surgery I've had. The first one I had in 2006 when I found out what was wrong, what was going wrong. The doctor at that time forced me, or didn't force me, but pushed my wife toward the surgery. They had drugged me up to a point that I really wasn't coherent anymore. I do not remember that whole year of my life, my daughter's birthday, a family reunion, none of it. I can look at the pictures and it gives me chills because I don't remember it. So anyway, from the time they found this to the time I was in surgery was about 6 to 8 months. Well, he told my wife how great a Chiari surgeon he was and all this stuff, and my wife believed him. You know, why wouldn't you? And she was made to believe that this wasn't that rare of a problem and all that. Well, it is a rare problem, and there are only a few surgeons in the United States that are worth their salt, and I think, in my opinion, Dr. Oro, he is my guardian angel. He is my angel. He truly brought me back. I have been suicidal during this time several times, and I mean, to the point I've had a gun in my mouth, cocked, ready to go. If I wanted to have kids, I would not be here. And they're still young, 7 and 9. So I remember my wife crying and stuff and yelling and getting the kids out of the house, and they were crying and all that the first time this all started to happen, and it was just because of the pain was so intense, and it's scary. So when I found Dr. Oro, after the first surgeon worked on me, let me back up because I'm getting ahead of myself. After the first surgeon worked on me, and I came out of surgery, some things were a little different, but he told me, he goes, at my follow-up appointment after the surgery, he said, I did the surgery, you're healed, you're good to go. Now, I said, what do you mean, good to go? And he said, good to go. Go back to life as usual. Well, life as usual to me was I played football. I had a full ride scholarship to play into college, power lifted, I boxed, so on and so forth. So life as usual was, you know, the first thing I wanted to do is join a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym and start doing mixed martial arts fighting. I started having problems when I was at the gym. I was getting real bad vertigo, and you know, there's a lot of chokeholds that involve the neck and all kinds of stuff. And stuff was starting to go downhill, and from 2006 to 2011, May 17th, 2011 is when I was operated on by Dr. Oro. I had a little high after the surgery of 2006, and then I just steadily went downhill. In 2010, I found out I had a syrinx. The reason I developed the syrinx is because the surgery that the first surgeon did was so botched, it was unreal. He really hurt me bad. He left sharp bone fragments in the back of my skull that were cutting into I was leaking spinal fluid. It would come out of my ears and stuff like that. And that's because those sharp pieces were cutting into the dura itself. So, and then poke a hole, and then I'd get the just terrible pressure headaches, bad pressure headaches from that. So, anyway, in 2010, I found out I had a syrinx. See, I didn't originally have a syrinx like yourself. And they told me all they needed to do was go and put this stent in the spinal cord, and bingo bango, it was going to be better. Well, that was not true. They didn't look high enough to see what was causing the problem again. Since the first surgeon did not do the surgery properly, my brain had re-herniated, and it was causing all kinds of problems. So they put a stent in. That was an awful surgery, and I highly don't recommend that one. But when I found Dr. Oro, we started talking, and he did a lot of scans that I hadn't had done, like the 3D scan. That 3D scan's an interesting scan. They can tell a lot from it. Dr. Oro also invented a small piece that he puts in. It's a little titanium half moon, half cup shaped thing that they put back in, that the muscles and stuff can reattach to, because when they cut that bone out, they usually, from what I understand, just stitch those tendons or those muscles back to the other muscles. They don't reattach them or something. So anyway, he invented this piece, and he invented it, and it screws in, and he can reattach the pieces to it. So the surgery, being pain-wise, a lot of the people with Chiari, like myself, I was on a lot of meds. You may be, you may not be. You've got a higher pain tolerance. I believe, just from what I've read, that you're a lady, a woman, naturally have higher pain tolerance than a man. So Dr. Oro knows that when going into surgery, and since you were on a certain amount of drugs coming in, he will make sure he gives you above and beyond to keep you comfortable in surgery or out of surgery. Dr. Oro is treated like a king, an absolute king in this hospital at the Aurora Medical Center. There's a floor for just his patients. You're not going to have anybody else on that floor than Chiari patients, or patients that he's worked on. So after surgery, you can see in the video I was drugged, and they kept me drugged, but that evening they like to get you right up and get you on your feet. So that evening I was up and I wanted to walk. So they said okay, and we went for a walk, and we get out, and they just want to take you down, 20, 30 feet. And I went, no. And I pushed myself all the way around the whole wing, and then came back to my room. And that was rough, and Dr. Oro was really surprised that I had done this. But I knew going into it that I needed to push myself a little, try to stay ahead of the game, and stay positive. The biggest downfall people have is they start becoming depressed, and I do it too. I've been, if you watch one of my last videos I just put on YouTube that says Down and Out, I go through it all the time. I've got my ups and downs. I call it the Chiari roller coaster. Some days you're good, some days you're bad, but it's always up and down, always up and down. So anyway, the pain, not bad. Don't fret the surgery. Yeah, you're going to be worried, you're going to be scared, you're going to be nervous going into it. But when you come into pre-op, when they're getting you ready for the surgery, the morning of your surgery, you come to the hospital, you get signed in, everything. Hopefully you have a significant other, or a mother, or a father, or a best friend, or somebody there with you. And if you do decide to do this, let me know, or talk to the staff, Dr. Oro's staff. There's a place you can stay at that goes by the name of the Strawberry House, which is set up to work with Oro's patients. It's a full setup apartment. It's got beds, it's fully stocked. They just ask you to restock it. It's $35 a night for whoever comes with you to stay there. There are 4 twin-size beds in it. There's 2 twin-size beds in each room. Very comfortable TV, couch, everything. So the night you come in, you can come in and sit down, relax, rest, and get ready for the next morning's adventure. But if you live in the Aurora area, you want to be using that. So anyway, also Dr. Oro's staff is above and beyond. They are so great. They still check in on me. I do need to have another surgery. It's not for the decompression, it's for my neck. My neck's falling forward. I have to have it fused eventually, and he will do that surgery. But when you come into pre-op, if you're nervous and you're having a little bit of trouble, you tell the nurses, and they will administer something to calm you down. And they won't argue, they won't fight, they won't nothing. It'll be boom, they do it. I tend, before any of my surgeries, since I was a little kid, I had a surgery on my throat when I was real young. I had a cyst in one arm. I've had 2 decompressions, a spinal cord surgery. Every one of my surgeries, I start to hyperventilate before the surgery. It's just what my body does. So I start hyperventilating, I start crying, I'm like a great big baby. But I'm a fairly emotional person anyway. So they fix that real quick, and I don't really remember much after that shot. They wheel you off after surgery. They wheel you off, do the surgery, you come back. Surgery, I believe, is about 4 hours long, 4.5, depending on what they run into. Mine, this last decompression that he did, I want to say I was almost 6 hours because of what they ran into that was left over from the last surgeon. Also, he will open your dura, expand your dura. He will take a piece of tissue from underneath your scalp, just above the incision. So if you look, I think you see my incision once. If you look at the very top, there's a little incision about this long, maybe even shorter. That's where they go in and get a piece to add into your dura to open it up, because the sac around your brain is only as big as it needs to be. So when they make more room down below, the sac's still tight. And see, that's one thing the first surgeon didn't do, so I still had the pressure. Although they half-ass opened the skull, they didn't open the dura, which, you know, they should have. Some surgeons use bovine, and, you know, out of pig or cow or whatever, or fake stuff that I don't know how it all works. But this way is very successful. It mends right into your dura. It's part of your body, so it's not rejected and stuff like that. It doesn't hurt any worse. You know, it's a little sore up there on the top of your head. Also on mine, if you look, the scar, I think there were 3 separate scars. The lowest scar you will not have. He did that because when they did the stent in my spinal cord, they did a real shitty job sewing it back together. And believe you not, honest to God truth, my tattoo on my back was crooked, you know. So instead of being together like this, it was like this. And Dr. Oro said that he'd like to fix it. Also, the scar was real wide. They just did a nasty job. And I asked him, well, exactly why? And he goes, because when people see the scars above, I don't want them to say, oh, Oro'd seen that or did that, and then them see that lower one. So he went back in, cut around that scar, took that old piece of scar out, brought my tattoo back up even, and stitched it. Absolutely true story. And you can ask Dr. Oro about Eric Jeffs and ask him that. You know, he does a lot of patients every year. He's very, very well in tuned. So basically I'm saying, don't worry. Don't stress. if it's something that you need, if you're having lots of symptoms, if you're choking, if you're, starting to fall over, if you're stumbling on your words, stuff like that, then do it. Do what you think is best, but don't worry about it. Now, I know I don't want these videos to get too long, so I'm going to stop this one here, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a part 2 for you to watch, and it's easier to upload them, and I'll do it on your other questions about stumbling on words, and I'll talk about a couple of my other problems, and like the length of surgery. Just real quick, some people have fantastic success right after surgery. I do, you will, everybody does, because that pressure is relieved and the body's like, yeah. So you will feel so much better, but some stuff will slowly come back. It'll slowly come back and you'll level back out. There's a surgery high, and then there's a surgery plateau, and then some people drop a little bit. Now, I have dropped back on some stuff, but I'm still ahead on others. So all in all, I've kind of plateaued out. Do I think I'll need another one of the decompression surgeries? It's possible. I know a lot of people that have had 2. I know a lot of people that have had 3. And I know a couple that have had more than that. I know a lot of people that have had 1 and it was very successful. And I know a lot of people that have had 1 and it was not very successful. But they also were not at the caliber of doctor like you're talking to. They were at the caliber of doctor that I saw the first time. So let me end it here. I hope you're having a good day. I'm sorry I didn't get this up when I said I was going to. And don't stress, don't worry. Stay positive. That's what you got to do. And I'll get another one back up. It'll be the same background, same shirt, same everything. All I'm going to do is turn it off, turn it back on. So watch for the next video.